Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 425. Hope you're all doing fantastic leading up to the holidays. Love this time of year, the hustle and bustle, planning visits with family, maybe some travel, gift buying. Love it. Speaking of gifts, on today's Tech It Out, we're going to start off with a high-tech twist on Rubick's Cube, something that kids and kids at heart no doubt would love to unwrap under the tree this year. Then, tech expert Mario Armstrong will share some other gadget gift ideas. Also on the show today, we're going to learn about audiobooks, how you can use your own voice with the help of AI to read your books. And then we're going to chat about Santa and GM, General Motors, and NORAD, all partnering this year on a fun initiative tied to Christmas. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by Norton and Visa, two outstanding partners of mine, both companies aiming to protect you in slightly different ways, interestingly enough. I'll elaborate more on that a little bit later on. But let's officially kick off a brand new show with our first interview. How do you take one of the most iconic handheld puzzle games from the 20th century and bring it into the digital age? Well, the answer is Rubick's WOWCube, a twist on the iconic cube puzzler. And to learn all about it, we're joined by Max Filin. He's co-founder and CEO of Cubios, the folks behind Rubick's WOWCube. Welcome to the show, Max. Good to talk to you.
Hello. Thank you.
So I know you usually live in Florida, but you're talking to us in China. I know it's like midnight for you. Thank you so much for staying up late to talk with us about this, new partnership between WOWCube, which has been around for a couple years now, with Rubick's. So that's, the Spin Master folks. We'll get to that in a moment, kind of the business side. But I think for our listeners, I'd love to start with simply, what is Rubick's WOWCube?
All right. So in simple words, I'm here in China, in Shenzhen, in our office and lab, and we are at a very crucial moment right now, manufacturing the first 10,000 pieces to be shipped within days to the customers.
Congrats.
Yes, I just finished the quality control for the first batch. So in simple words, what is the Rubick's WOWCube? It's the new type of a gaming console in the shape of the cube, which consists of 8 autonomous separate modules and covered with 24 screens. So the whole surface, imagine the cube with the whole surface as a screen, and you change the screen geometry by twisting it the way you twist the Rubik's Cube, by twisting 4 in a layer. So you interact with a digital world as if it's a real object, and then designed to hold it with your both hands on your arm's distance, far from the eyes, thinking in 3 dimension. And not only for games, you can also use it as a digital photo frame on your table or like digital aquarium. It's not necessarily should be for games.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I know there's a screensaver and some other things you can do. All right, so it kind of looks like a Rubik's Cube, but it's got 4 cubes on each of the 6 sides. So it's 24 little screens that, depending on the mode you're playing or the games that you're playing, it could show the same thing or different objects on each screen. So I love that modern take on the classic, again, I called it an iconic puzzle game, Rubik's Cube. So WOWCube is, you call it a console and you hold it in your hands. And it also fuses the classic cube puzzle mechanic that we're familiar with, having to align the same colors and all that, but also with video games, right? Can you tell us about the tie-in with mobile games like Cut the Rope?
Absolutely. That's the most important part here. It's not just the cube with the screens, which shows the pictures. We create the operation system that allows those modules to communicate. Yes, of course, we use the characters from different well-known games, but it's not possible just to port the game to the WOWCube. So you need to reimagine the gameplay completely to play it on the whole surface. I'll give you an example. Imagine the Pac-Man, for example, and where with the Pac-Man you need to run away from the ghost. But in our version, if it could be on a cube, you can go through the device. You can change the shape of the maze of this game with your real hands. So even a simple arcade, increase your spatial reasoning and add the puzzle element to pretty much any game. For example, cut the rope game you just mentioned. In our version, you need to literally cut the rope. We have a license for the cut the rope, so you can play the cut the rope on the Rubik's WOWCube. So you need to literally cut the rope by twisting the cube and cutting the rope.
Love it. You've explained it really well verbally because this is radio or a podcast, so I know our listeners can envision what it looks like. We'll get to a website where they can actually see it in a moment. So you do have official partnerships with games like Cut the Rope and Space Invaders, if I remember correctly. Because there are no buttons, Max, how do you navigate between the games?
It doesn't have buttons, and that's what makes it absolutely unique and interesting. You can control the device in the most natural way by shaking, tilting, tapping, twisting. So you physically control the digital space. That's what makes it cool. Say if you're in menu, you need to move the highlighter by slightly tilting the cube. It's like a bubble always on top. And then you start. If you want to start the game, you just tap it twice to launch the game.
So you rotate the cube, it moves the cursor, if you will. It highlights a different cube. And then when it's on the game or other application, which we'll get to, when you land on where you want to access, you just tap it once you rotate it. Like you said, like a bubble that moves around.
Yes, it's a piece of technology inside. It has accelerometers, G-sensors, and it understands all this physical input. It not necessarily should be buttons.
Got it. We are chatting with Max Filin, co-founder and CEO of Cubios. These are the folks behind the game WOWCube. It's a game system, in fact, a console that looks like a Rubik's Cube. And then you recently partnered officially with the company Spin Master, based in Toronto, Canada, that actually owns the IP for Rubik's Cube. How's that going? And this is obviously breathing new life into your product lineup.
Oh, absolutely. The Rubik's Cube is one of the most popular toy on the planet,
right?
And our device looks like a Rubik's Cube, like 2x2 version of the Rubik's Cube. So it's a win-win collaboration, of course.
Because it's a console, Max, it supports multiple games that you can choose to install on there. So I think it works with a companion app, right? Tell us about some of the games that are accessible. We already talked about Cut the Rope and Space Invaders, but there are others, many others, right?
Yeah, we have more than 70 available right now, but what is most important, we create the software development kit, SDK, so anyone can download this SDK and make their own games for the WOWCube, upload to our website, to our app store. Even though if you don't know how to code, how to develop the games, we have the WOWCube Studio. It's a very simple drag and drop interface where you can make simple games you can use your phone to make a photo and then upload it to the cube using our app companion,
right?
To make a simple game out of it. Also, the cube is a standalone device. It's an independent standalone device, so you can just give it to your child on the back seat of your car. But to unlock the full potential, you can download our app, which is available for iOS and Android, and you can control the widgets. For example, if it stands near your PC, you can show your Bitcoin rate or weather, or you can even pick the place on the Google panoramic Google Maps, and it shows you 360 degrees photo on the surface of the cube. We also have what we call the Mind Hub, or a parental portal, where you can see the progress, what skills you develop when you play it, like increase your memory or spatial reasoning. You can participate in esports competition. Like we just mentioned, the Rubik's Cube, you can play the speed cubing type of the games, even though you're not in the same room, but you can compete with your friends no matter where they are.
That's great. And you mentioned it can also show you your photos. You may want to keep this on your office desk, and it'll rotate photos like a digital photo frame.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I think calendar appointments as well.
You're absolutely right. And basically, it's 24 screens in the shape of the cube on your desk. Right. What to show there, it's you to choose. Right. Messages from WhatsApp, please go ahead. Or Bitcoin rate, or your calendar, or your meetings, your stock exchange, pretty much anything. So it's an open platform for your creativity.
All right. So let's wrap up with how much the Rubik's WOWCube costs and where we can learn more.
I want to highlight here, this is a very complex electromechanical device with 24 screens and 8 processors, 8 CPUs. That's why we're now at the what I call a Tesla Roadster stage. The price is $399 with access to all 70 plus games, and this number constantly increasing. Having this, it's right now, it's one of the first on the planet, and you can be unique and always be in the center of attention having this. But yes, the price is $399 right now.
Alrighty, and it's at WOWCube.com, just as it sounds, WOWCUBE.com.
Yes, correct. Yes, all the information you can find there, including SDK and links to our Discord channel and everything.
Yeah, and some really great videos at the website too. Thank you so much, Max Filin, CEO of Cubios. Really exciting time as you're relaunching WOWCube as Rubick's WOWCube with 70 plus games. Plus, again, I want to remind our listeners, you can use it like a Rubik's Cube with the solid colors on each side, just as you may remember growing up, as I do.
The various of this game, when they in black or change the colors.
Oh, awesome.
During your play. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for that. All right. Thank you so much, Max. All the best. And thanks for staying up so late to talk with us today.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you very kindly.
You are listening to Tech It Out. Huge thank you to Norton, a new partner of ours on the program. Super excited to have them on board. When we return on the program, more gadget gift ideas with tech expert Mario Armstrong. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. Oh, you know this one. Come on now. That's right. Jingle bells are ringing because it is time for some ho-ho holiday gift ideas. And good thing that Santa is sitting in his sleigh beside digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong, who's pulling him into this show to chat with us about some top picks for the season. Hey, Mario, Merry Christmas. That's an entrance for you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me on. Merry Christmas to you and all the listeners out there and everybody. That's a classic. Like, right? How can you not rock out to that? So, and yes, I've been busy in the North Pole. So parents, caregivers, everybody that's thinking about giving a gift to someone, I partnered up with some great brands. I got a good list of some fun ideas that can help you complete that gift list this year.
Well, speaking of the kids, why don't we start off with something fun for the little ones?
Oh, and interactive. Like, that's what I'm seeing is a great trend of, like, not just fun, but how can they be interactive with that fun? And so Epic is the world's leading digital reading platform for kids, and they launched their first ever Cat Ninja toy line. So now this brings the hero from the page to playtime. So they actually now have these figures that are available to them. It's all inspired by the hit graphic novel series. And if you haven't heard about it, don't worry, because it's over 300 million times by kids around the world. Everybody else has heard about this. It's amazing. And they have the first two collectible figures that are available now. And they capture Cat Ninja in these action-packed scenes, which is a lot of fun. If you buy both of them, by the way, you get a 15% discount. So it's a great holiday gift.
Awesome. So Epic is an app with access to over, in fact, I just looked it up, 40,000 books and audiobooks, and now with collectible figurines. All right, before we talk about a few more gift ideas, what about staying connected with friends and family this season? How can tech help there?
Oh, tech can help in such a big way. So I really want everyone to pay attention to this because this is something that everyone can use and it benefits a lot of people. So it's called Text Now, and Text Now gives you unlimited calling and texting over Wi-Fi for free. Just download the app. I've done it myself, and then you're set and ready to go. If you want to use it without Wi-Fi, you can. You can get a low-cost SIM card. Maybe you're going on travel and you don't want to take your main phone or you need a separate phone. You can use this as your main phone and get a phone plan if you wanted to as well with that. But it's perfect to save money, use it as a second number. You can use this as your main phone, as I said, or it could be a side number for your side hustles, work, or travel. Best of all, no contracts, no credit checks. It's really that flexible. I really just like that you can go to the app, start using it over Wi-Fi right away.
Yeah, I saw the Text Now name on your list, and I was happy to see that because I've been using it for many years. It's truly a money saver because you get a free number. If you sell things on Craigslist, you may not want to give out your real phone number. I know people who are on dating apps and they don't want to give out their real number. They want some privacy before they, get to really know the person. Then they'll give them the real number. So Text Now is great for that. And you get to choose, by the way, what city you want the number to be associated with, like Dallas, Texas, or Miami, Florida. They'll give you a number that's available. Also, Text Now has a $0 a month wireless phone plan for the country, for the US. It's called the Free Flex plan. $0 for unlimited talk and text. And then even data, if you use it for email, maps, and rideshare services like Lyft or Uber, then it's also free. And only if you need data that you can add on to it. It's only a couple bucks. So really love that. I use that when I'm traveling. So great stuff from Text Now. And that's an ad-supported plan, by the way. But let's now turn back our attention to gift giving, Mario.
Yeah, I'm sitting on set, and I kind of have all these items in front of me. The WWE brings back like nostalgia for me. It's called WWE Money in the Bank Cash in Ring playset. So this is a playset that's really for fans and kids ages 6 and up, where you can slam the bell launcher and it starts creating chaos, and you can unlock over 40 different sounds and phrases. It's really kind of like the ultimate WWE showdown experience with the figures and everything. And then kids will also love to see under the tree something that Crayola is doing, which is really awesome because they're bringing spray art magic to life, and it's called the Crayola Marker Airbrush Kit. And the airbrush works with most Crayola markers and is a hands-on way for kids to experiment with color, artistic expression, and creative effects. And when it's time to tap into that creativity for holiday crafts or school projects that they're going to have, kids can use the included 5 stencils. And then lastly, for the whole family, I'm a gamer and I love Sega. Who doesn't? And so you can race across land, sea, air, even space in the newest game, the newest one, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And then there's also 2 Point Museum. I love this game because you get to manage and curate and design your own museum. They're both available on current gen consoles, Nintendo Switch 2, and on PC.
You talked about being on set for TV interviews and having a nice table. I wanted our listeners to know how they can see that. So in the news.tv to see a video of Mario Armstrong, digital lifestyle expert, showcasing this really cool technology. Amazing stuff. Mario, all the best. Merry Christmas. Happy and healthy holidays to you and your family. And I look forward to seeing you early next year in Las Vegas at the big tech show.
Absolutely, man. The same to you and your family, and super excited about seeing you in the new year and wishing everyone really be safe and have a happy holiday this season.
We'll be right back when we talk audiobooks and using your own voice to narrate them. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. It's no secret that AI is changing every industry, and audiobooks are no exception. Spines, a platform to publish your own books professionally, is also helping authors create and sell audiobooks, leveraging AI to facilitate this. Joining us on the line to explain how it works is Yehuda Niv, CEO of Spines. Thanks for your time, Yehuda. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Before we talk about Spines and what you're doing in the audiobook space, why do you think audiobooks are so popular today?
I believe it's a matter of time management. People are busier than ever nowadays. Being able to listen to a book, like when you sit and read a book, that's something you do active. But listening to a book, it's a passive process. You don't have to actually allocate a lot of time to do that. That's make that more easy. And I believe it's a different media of books that is emerged as something which is more consumer favorable because it's just easier and you can control the speed, and sometimes you are getting few emotions of the one who was doing the audiobook version, and it's a nice experience, to listen to a book instead of reading that.
Agreed. Yeah, it's easier to multitask. I travel a lot as a journalist, and so I like listening while I'm walking through airports. Not to mention, think of all the people listening right now who are commuting to and from work every day. A lot of people aren't called back to the office post-pandemic, and they're fighting traffic in their cities, and they want to remain entertained both ways. Yeah. And I agree with you. There's also the emotion of the narrator in some cases. All right, so would it be fair then to say, Yehuda, that Audible, which is an Amazon brand, they're probably the biggest platform for audiobooks. Is it true they're putting up roadblocks when it comes to publishing audiobooks?
Funny story, one of our lead investors, Oren Ziv, he led our Series A. It was $60 million in funding.
Oh, wow.
And
congrats.
And and he was one of the first investors in Audible. And also he was one of the early investors in Chegg. So he's actually a venture capitalist who has a major success in the publishing space. And he told me that he believes Spines will be the third. Okay, and what Audible used to be and what it is right now, it's a very different approach to audiobooks. However, I do believe they have an amazing catalog. On the user end of the reader, it's an amazing platform. However, for publishers or authors, we in Spines, we created a process that we can help anyone to create an audiobook version for themselves, because up to date, creating an audiobook used to be something which is very either labor intensive, because you will have to go to 40 hours into a studio and create your own audiobooks, or you will have to get a studio to create that for you, which is very expensive. So most of the books don't have an audiobook version because it's quite a big of a project.
Yeah, like you said, it's labor intensive or cost prohibitive.
Yes. So what we did with Spines, we created a process which we can model the author's own voice. We can create a model, and instead of him going 40 hours into a studio, we only need 3 minutes. And then we create an audiobook version based on his voice. Or if he doesn't want to use his voice because he has an Israeli accent like I have, for example, he can use one of our 300 synthetic voices for generating his audiobook. And what we can do also is to assign different voices for different characters. And so if you want to create an audiobook with few voice actors, that should be very expensive. But with our tools, it's very simple. However, those books, the voice part of those books was AI generated. Sometimes it's very hard to get them uploaded to platforms like Audible because they still block them. So on one hand, of course, they want to have a bigger catalog with more books. However, they are still not opening the gates completely to these kinds of AI-generated audiobooks. Mm-hmm. By the way, the book was completely written by a real human being. Just the audiobook version was created by the help of AI. But they do allow it when it was created with their AI tool, which is not yet available for everyone. But I think all of those challenges are only a matter of time until, let's say, the conviction in the quality of the technology will be good enough, and those roadblocks will be removed, and it will be more streamlined than what it is right now. So I think it's a matter of a year, 2 years top, and all of this nonsense will be
ironed out. Yeah.
But it will take a while. Now, so what we do, we allow those books to be distributed in other channels, because in Spines, we can list the books in more channels, and audiobook is an amazing channel, but it's only one of them, and we have much more than that. This is how we solve it right now. Yes.
Sounds fascinating. In a couple of minutes from now, I'm going to play you a sample of what one of the AI voices sounds like. It's going to blow you away. So stay tuned for that. So the author, he or she can go into the studio, just record a couple of minutes worth of their voice, and your AI takes it from there. Alternatively, you can choose one from a couple of hundred different voices you already have in your database. And by the way, some of them may like an Israeli accent, by the way. They may be a fan of the show Fauda or something. Right. So don't sell yourself short, Yehuda. No, but I get the idea, is that you can choose somebody else's voice if you like. So is this limited right now to authors who are already on the Spines platform? Or what if, for example, like I have books that I've written, but I'm not the publisher, so I don't own the rights to the audiobook version. I don't know if there's ever been an audiobook version of my books, by the way, because they're technical and it's not, a bit of a different animal. Obviously, you have to have the rights, or do they have to be a Spines-based author?
Yes, so that's a great question, because in Spines, we focus on the author. So we will only help authors who wrote their book by themselves.
Okay.
We do not publish AI-generated books or something like that.
Sure.
Like only books that was originated in real human beings. And in Spines, we have a few packages. So there are packages who are A to Z solution for the editing, proofreading, formatting, cover design, and of course, AI-narrated audiobook and distribution across 100 channels, and royalty management and distribution. So all of that is included in few of our packages, and also publishing the book in multiple languages in both audiobook and print on demand and ebook versions as well, in multiple languages. So we have a lot of solutions. We also have a package for those who has already published a book, not with Spines, but now they just want to translate it to Spanish, for example, or they want to have an audiobook version for the book, because 40% of the book consumption nowadays is voice, is audiobooks. And however, most of the authors don't have an audiobook version for themselves. So in order for them to work with Spines, they will only have to make sure they actually own the copyright. So if they self-published it or hybrid publish it, probably they supposed to have the rights on the audiobook version.
Got it.
Then they can use Spines tools to create their own audiobook version and use our distribution tool to distribute it.
Thanks for the clarification. A few more minutes with Yehuda Niv from Spines, the book and audiobook platform, when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. We are chatting with Yehuda Niv. He's CEO of Spines. This is a popular platform to publish your own books professionally. They've already got 6,000 books published, and they're also helping authors create and sell audiobooks as well, leveraging AI. So Yehuda, I'd love to just play a clip for our listeners to hear what the AI-based voice sounds like, what it sounds like for an author to choose one of the existing AI voices, not his own. His name is Zvi Lanier, and he chose to use one of the existing AI voices you already have. This is from his book called Thinking Like a Fox. So let's have a listen.
There are many concepts that reflect different aspects of our world. The list of these concepts is something I put together a few years ago while preparing a lecture on the question, what kind of world do we live in? On the surface, the topic of the lecture seems like an odd question.
Wow. So that's a synthetic voice. Again, this is not a human coming in, but it sounds pretty real. Again, I think a lot of people would be hard pressed to hear the difference between a synthetic voice and a real human voice. That is one you can choose, or you can read your own if you prefer.
Yes, and I can share a funny story. One of our investors, Michael Eisenberg, is the founder of Aleph, is one of the top tier VCs in Israel in early stage. And a few weeks ago, he asked me if we could create an audiobook version for one of his books, because he's a 9-time published author. He sent us a sample of his voice. We created a 10-minute sample, sent it back to him, and he shared it with his friends, and he told them, what do you think about my new recording? and no one could tell the difference that this was an AI model and not him. And then he told me that even his wife couldn't tell the difference.
Oh, wow. All right. That's a testament to how good the AI is getting. Yeah. AI is freaking me out all across the board. But yeah, that's an example of it.
Yes.
Do you think this is a trend that will only become more and more popular, whether it's Spines or other audiobook platforms?
For sure, because nowadays there are those books you would love to listen to them in an audiobook version, but the audiobook version is not available yet because it wasn't created. But with AI, those could be created in matter of days instead of months, and in the fraction of the cost, and it will only get easier and better. And spines, we might be the first ones, but we probably won't be the last. I believe in the future, what could happen, let's say in 5 years' time, you could listen to any book in any voice, in any language, and this will just increase the book consumption and will help authors to double, quadruple their audiences, because their books will now be available in more formats, in more languages, and everything will be seamless. This is the future, how AI will help authors and publishers and distributors to actually get more content available to more readers or listeners.
Just to play devil's advocate, what would you say, though, Yehuda, to those listening thinking, well, what if that's your job? You're an audiobook narrator, and and then you hear AI coming in that could replace you. This is happening in every industry, right? Instead of hiring a photographer to take a picture of someone for your website, you may use AI to do it, and it looks lifelike. So, I mean, it's not just in the audiobook space. What would you say to those who are concerned about this? I know it can help you save money as an author, but what would you say to those whose livelihood depends on authors hiring them to read their books?
So it's the same thing that you would say to all those Uber drivers that are now being replaced with automated cars. And this is the progress. I'm always said, I didn't invented this technology. I'm only using it and leveraging it to help my customers, which are authors. And I think the AI revolution is something that will affect every aspect of our lives.
For sure.
And we need to be responsible. And if your earnings are coming from something that it will be much easier to be replaced with AI, you need to start to think, how can you start navigate your career to more safer places?
Yeah.
And because the change is happening, okay? Maybe it will happen fast, maybe it will happen slow, but it will happen. In every working space, AI will affect, and people that can use AI will probably replacing people who do not use AI.
Yeah, that's fair. And I've heard similar quotes from C-level executives at very big companies. It's the same thing. Hire people who know how to use AI, not those who are afraid of it. For better or for worse, it's definitely here and only going to become much, much bigger, changing everything, just like the internet did. Yes. Thank you so much. Yehuda Niv has been our guest, CEO of Spines. Is it simply spines.com to learn more?
Yes, it is. It is.
Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
As an avid book reader, I like the name, even though I am more of a digital reader these days on my iPad or ebook reader, but I love the name. Thank you so much for your time, Yehuda. All the best.
Thank you. Bye, Mark.
Do you listen to audiobooks? Let me know. Hit me up on social media. Let me know if you prefer reading regular books, ebooks, or audiobooks, or all of the above. You can find me on X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and a couple of others probably missed. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. I wanted to give another shout out to Norton, a new partner of mine on the program. I've been using Norton 360 with LifeLock as well. So not only does it have all the anti-malware protection that you want, malware, of course, is short for malicious software, including viruses, and will flag anything suspicious. But with LifeLock, it also gives you identity theft protection as well, with a slew of benefits, which I've talked about a lot on the show over the past couple of weeks. If you want to hear a previous episode of Tech It Out, by the way, simply go to your favorite podcast platform like Spotify or Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and TuneIn and all that, and just do a search for Tech It Out and maybe add my name, Mark, with a C, and you'll find it. There's probably another podcast somewhere in the world with the millions of podcasts available, also called Tech It Out. Not that I'm aware of, but wouldn't be too shocked if that was the case. All right, so because of the holiday season coming up, I wanted to tell you something that General Motors is doing with NORAD and the North Pole when we return on Tech It Out. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
You probably know that over the past few years, OnStar from General Motors and NORAD have partnered on a Santa tracker, so you can find out where Santa and his reindeer are on Christmas Eve, as Saint Nick is flying around the world and delivering toys and other gifts on time. If you're not familiar with that, I'll tell you more about that shortly. But what's new this year from OnStar, and I think this is awesome for members, again, OnStar members who are in a Chevrolet or Cadillac, Buick, or GMC, you can use your in-vehicle OnStar Blue button or tap inside the Guardian app to unlock a brand new 7-part audio adventure called Santa in Space. It's written by best-selling children's author Adam Rubin. So listeners can follow Santa and his sidekick, Reindeer 3000, on a sound-rich journey across the galaxy with a new adventure every day, leading into the main event on Christmas Eve, where you can also track Santa's whereabouts, as you have in the past. But I love this new audio adventure, being a fan of audiobooks and old radio shows and all that. This is wonderful. So, how do you listen? From now till December 23rd, OnStar members can access Santa in Space by pressing that blue OnStar button inside their vehicle or through the Guardian app. And each episode drops listeners right into the heart of Santa's interstellar mission, building anticipation and delight as Christmas Eve approaches. Then, on Christmas Eve, and continuing through 5 a.m. Eastern on the 25th of December, OnStar will offer live Santa tracking in partnership with NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, so families can find out exactly where Santa is and how close he may be to making his stop at your home. And here's perhaps the best part. For every blue button push on Christmas Eve, OnStar donates $1 to the American Red Cross, up to $30,000. So it's a win-win, folks. Take advantage of that if you're an OnStar customer. And if you're not, by the way, you can go to onstar.com and also hear the audio series Santa in Space, which is great for kids and kids at heart. Again, go to onstar.com, then scroll down on the webpage where it says Create Magic Together. Keep up with Santa this holiday season. And when you tap or click that, you'll see the cover of Santa in Space, an illustration that you can listen to, which is great, even if you're not an OnStar customer, once again. Wanted to give another shout out to Visa and Norton, outstanding partners of mine on the program, as well as SanDisk, which is funny because all three of those brands, SanDisk, Norton, and Visa, all aim to protect you in different ways. SanDisk with reliable backup storage, of course, external solid state drives and USB thumb drives and memory cards to protect your data just in case something happens to your laptop or desktop, or they even have solutions for iPhone and Android smartphones and tablets as well that plug in underneath USB-C, whereas Visa protects your purchases, of course, especially in the digital age. And Norton with a suite of cybersecurity related products and protecting you against identity theft and whatnot. So very cool. Thank you to all of our amazing partners. And as we start winding down the year, calendar year 2025, a huge thank you to listeners. They're the best. I love hearing from them. If and when you do reach out and you've got suggestions for upcoming guests or topics, or maybe just tech support questions, be sure to let me know where you're tuning into the show from. I love hearing what city or town you're in, and also how you're tuning in. Is it your favorite local talk radio station, or is it in podcast form? I often get messages from people overseas as well, tuning in digitally, like on a website or the podcast. So that's always a kick for me as well. If you want to find me on social media, where I link to the articles that I write, and of course, this radio show and podcast videos as well, including TV appearances, my handle is simply Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman. So Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. For my fellow Canadians, it's Saltzman with a Z. Doesn't quite rhyme, but there you go. Saltzman. And I look forward to hearing from you. I'm on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, pick your poison, right? And if you're not into social media, you can just head over to my website, marksaltzman.com, and send me a note from there as well. Oh, and by the way, SanDisk isn't just about backup, but they also have drives fast enough, like solid state drives for gaming systems and for your PC, that you can work off the drive in real time. It's not like a slow hard drive with a spinning platter that you need to wait to boot up and all that. So also great for content creators toiling away on a computer editing some videos that they want to post to social, or gamers who are playing in real time against others competitively online in first-person action games and role-playing games and strategy strategy and simulations and all that fast enough, you can play off the drives themselves. Great stuff. SanDisk.com has more on that, including support for PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Oh, and yeah, I wrote a Best Games of the Year article for USA Today. If you want to check that out, just Google USA Today, Mark Saltzman, Best Games 2025. Hey, I'm wishing you all a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for making Tech It Out a small part of it. Good luck shopping if you're hitting the malls and fighting traffic and other shoppers trying to elbow you to get the gifts that you want. Looking forward to chatting with you next time for another brand new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.